And in today's video, we are now moving to the next tank that you will unlock, and many players in Heroes and Generals would definitely switch to the BT-7 light tank. And even though both tanks don't exactly have armor, but end of the day, at least with the BT-7, you have speed. Son of a... I did not mean to drive in front of him. Are you kidding me, game?
Out! Push this! Ah!
Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to another episode of Heroes and Generals, but it's warthunder. And in today's video, we are now moving to the next tank that you will unlock, and many players in Heroes and Generals would definitely switch to. This is the BT-7 light tank. And even though in Heroes and Generals, the BT-7 doesn't exactly have armor compared to the T-26, but end of the day, at least with the BT-7, you have speed. That is of course unless somebody blows off your track. And when that happens, nice knowing you. And yeah, the BT-7 isn't exactly a step up from T-26 in terms of armor. The thickest part of your tank is only around 20mm. Otherwise, it's pretty much just 15mm in pretty much every single angle you look at this thing. Like, 50 caliber and anything else bigger can definitely tear you up. I mean, of course, there's also this little bit right here, the double layered armor 4mm underneath this 15mm, but 4mm really, like, that's not really gonna make a difference. But hey, even though it's lacking armor, at least for the BT-7 compared to the T-26, at least again, you have speed. And even though this thing weighs a little bit more than the T-26, at least you have a more powerful engine compared to the T-26. So yes, going up to 49km an hour is definitely not an issue. Maybe off-road because of the narrow tracks, but that's not really a big deal. Even off-road, it can go up around like 30km an hour or so. So yeah, that's this thing's true selling point. Like, the speed on this thing is definitely a huge deal. To the point where, when Gaijin decided to add the BT-7M, pretty much the BT-7 but with a way more powerful horsepower engine, let's just say there's a reason why this thing is at 2.0. So yeah, with this thing you can pretty much just drive around, brain cut off, flank and spank the enemy, do whatever the hell you want. You die, not a big deal. Something you cannot do in Heroes and Generals, mainly due to the fact that the map doesn't really favor flanking and spanking. Like sure, you can argue that there's some places where you can pretty much flank and spank, but even some of the biggest maps like Factory Map, Mountain Town, Forward Airfield, you try and flank and spank in those maps, like you can, but eventually you're gonna be bottlenecked in some area, around the main objective area there. And yeah, you can argue that there's also the airfield map, but if you're not playing a pilot in that map, the real question is, who the fuck wants to play that map? And speaking of flanking and spanking, again, the Soviets really like the 40mm, pretty much the same 45mm that you've been seeing in the T-26, BTs, all the way up to the T-50s, T-70s, T-80s, T-126, like, they really like the 45mm. Anyway, 45mm 20k cannon, and of course, like the T-26, we'll be using the same armor-piercing high-explosive ballistic cap shell that pans up to 70mm at point blank, with only 19 grams of explosive mass, and of course, that ridiculous angle of penetration. Pretty much like every other 45mm you've been using in the Soviet Tech tree, most tanks you come across don't exactly have the armor, so penetration is really not an issue. And of course, you have the armor-piercing ballistic cap shell, but then again, not really necessary considering how little more it penetrates from the armor-piercing high-explosive ballistic cap shell. But if you think that this shell might be your saving grace, then be my guest. Interesting little side note, there's actually a machine gun. And no, I'm not talking about this one right here. I know that this is the one that's working. There's actually another machine gun back here. And again, it's pretty much just the idea of shooting the enemy that is flanking the BT-7 without having to swing around the turret entirely. But considering the fact that tanks nowadays don't exactly have this, yeah, you can probably tell how well this thing actually works. And unfortunately, in Heroes and Generals, even though the machine gun port is there, yeah, you can't really mount the machine gun on the back. However, the funny thing I like to point out is that War Thunder actually has this machine gun model in, but then there's the ammo rack right there behind the turret. Like, where's the rest of the gun? And then moving on, the other aspects of the gun, you can carry up to 188 rounds of ammunition. For the love of God, please don't bring all of them. Like, again, you're a motorized explosive accident waiting to happen. So maybe around 30 to 40 shells, you don't even need like 188. Like, why? Reloading is around 3.2 seconds, but if you're new to this game and you're playing the BT-7 for the first time, that's not really a big deal. Your stock reload is around 3.8 seconds, which is already pretty fast for a gun this good. Gun depression, negative 6 degrees. Again, wow, 1 degree more than most Soviet tanks. And horizontal guidance speed, normally I don't talk about this, but 14 degrees a second, I mean, it's really not too bad. You can still work with this, but considering how often the BT-7 drifts and how often you'll be just playing with your brain cut off and just flanking and spanking the enemy however you like, that's something you need to keep in mind because there has been moments where I wish my turret could turn just a little bit faster. And finally, no gun stabilizer, but the gun doesn't really bounce too much when you stop to fire, so it's not a big deal. And so there you have it. This is the BT-7 in War Thunder. And of course, I'm giving this one to War Thunder because in War Thunder, I can pretty much just use the BT-7's maximum potential, which is basically just driving around with my brain cut off and then just destroying everybody I look at. Doesn't matter if I don't really have armor or the fact that Heroes and Generals, the BT-7 is a little bit more survivable, especially when you play hold down. But all of that is thrown out the window if you cannot even drive around like a maniac in this thing. But that's all I gotta say about the BT-7. Now let's take this thing on the battle and I apologize in advance, anybody I come across. There's another guy on the cap. Oh, he died. How am I not dead?
Another zone captured. We have the advantage.
Tis but a scratch.
Nice try, buddy. Flash and Polka. You monster! there was another guy behind me.
Just a little more effort, and victory will surely be ours.
What kind of delay do you have on that thing? Oh my goodness. That was clever. Thank you. Pull back, pull back. Thank you for doing that. I probably shouldn't have done that. But thanks for doing that. Yeah. Yeah. You know he's not happy. Ah. Oh, come on, that's fine though. They were looking at me.
Вижу повреждения! Цель уничтожена! Victory is near. Цель подбита! Цель уничтожена!
There's someone on the cap.
Enemy forces have captured zone. Вижу повреждения! Попадание!
Oh, this way. He's expecting us.
Горим! Огонь! Цель уничтожена!
You again?
Цель подбита! Цель уничтожена!
There you are.
Попадание! Цель уничтожена! Танк, 1 час. Дистанция 600 метров. Вижу повреждения!
Oh my goodness.
Уничтожена!
Sorry. That's probably a stolen kill.
Попадание!
Yeah, you can have it. Thank you for marking the guy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to guard. I'm gonna have to guard B. Dude, why are you here? Yeah, sure.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
Ouch.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Oh god, no fancy flying this thing. Forgot. Oh, it's okay though.